What's up, gang? Welcome to the Scruff Squad presents the broadcast from the Burbs. We're coming to you from Westchester, Illinois, 60154. I'm your host, Danny Adams, and here with me, as always, is my co-host, Phil Martin.
What up, what up?
And our co-hosts and producers, Jimmy the Diesel Adams and Sam Martin.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
We've got a great show for you guys today, as usual, so stay in tune. But real quick, I just wanted to share a huge announcement with you guys that we've been working on for a really long time. Jimmy's going to be going to school in the next couple weeks, so we won't be able to record weekly. With that being said, our website has been delayed because we're actually starting a blog on there. We're going to be doing write-ups for songs, projects, and artists. So if you're an artist out there who's trying to make a big move in the game, send us your music. You can do this by following us at Scruff_squad. You can DM us or tweet at us, and we'll see it that way. Or you can email us at scruffsquad60154@gmail.com, and we'll see your music either one of those ways. With that being said, we're accepting music submissions immediately, so send us your stuff as soon as you hear this. We'll get your name and music out there to a wider audience, and I'm sure we'll be able to help you guys out. So be on the lookout for that, and send us your stuff as soon as possible. So, in the spirit of the Olympics, let's dive right on into it.
Rio!
Vince Staples has a new EP dropping August 26th called Prima Donna. He only has a few features on it. One of them is A$AP Rocky, so I'm really looking forward to hearing this new Vince Staples, so be on the lookout for that August 26th.
For sure. Mick Jenkin just dropped a new track off his upcoming album, The Healing Component. It's called Spread Love, and you can find that on SoundCloud. Along with that, he also announced a Quest for Love tour with Smino. It goes from September 29th to November 18th, all over America and Europe, so be on the lookout for that.
Yep, and Earl Sweatshirt featuring Knxwledge. There's a new song out called Balance. We just recently listened to it before the show, and it is really, really good, actually. So
yeah, great insight, Phil.
Definitely look. Oh, thanks, guys.
Go check that out, yeah.
And I know this is kind of a bit of a reminder because it happened a little while ago, but Post Malone album is coming out August 26th, so just be sure to check that out as well.
It's going to be hot.
White Iverson, too.
Well, we don't know that yet, but
We'll see.
okay.
Might happen.
We'll see.
So one of the featured projects we're going to talk a little bit more about this week is a project that actually released, I believe, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It's the Perfect Love Tape by Lil Uzi Vert. It's a 10-song mixtape that he released, which gave us kind of a new side to Lil Uzi that I guess I wasn't used to seeing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, the project runs about 30 minutes long, so it's a pretty quick listen overall. He sticks with a lot of, production that he had in his last project, Lil Uzi versus the World. Like Molly Raw, he has Metro Boomin, he's got Don Cannon, but then he also
He
goes...
also has Zaytoven,
Well, that's
too.
what I was saying. I was about to say, is like he added a little bit of production, including Zaytoven, and a couple of guys I've actually never heard of. So he does have a couple songs on here, like Do What I Want, the intro track, reminds me a lot of a song that could be on his last project. But then he also experiments with new production selection a little later in the project, and overall I liked it. I don't think there's as many bangers as he had on his last project, but I think he's trying to evolve and put out a new sound.
Yeah, this actually reminded me a lot of kind of the early Migos. Just because a lot of the songs, the hooks were just him kind of repeating the same thing over and over, like Do What I Want. I think he just says do what I want and do what I want, just over and over.
Or even Erase Your Social, too.
Yeah, just like there was
one of the
multiple
main
songs on here that he kind of just repeated stuff over and over, which didn't really help his like lyrical value, I guess you could say. But I think he was going for that, just something kind of simple to put out to fans. Wasn't super long. He even had Offset of Migos on there, so
Yeah.
maybe that was kind of something he was going for on there. But he also did have, he only had a few features on here, but they were pretty big ones. He had Playboy and Offset on the second track called Of Course We Ghetto Flowers, and on the last track called 7 Million he had Future, which, I mean, those are some big features to have, and I think that is really going to help get his name out there even further than it already is.
I freaking love this mixtape. I've listened to it like 4 times, and two of my favorite songs on there is the original Uzi or
Yeah,
Four of Us.
definitely.
Yeah.
That one, and then the one featuring Future, 7 Million. Just two great songs. And honestly, when I first heard it when I was working out at the gym because I saw that he put it out, and I listened to it during my workout, and I was like, I thought the whole thing was made of bangers, and I was like,
Yeah.
man, it's really cool.
Yeah. Personally, I first heard it. I can't remember if we were going to or on our way home from our trip to New York. Like we talked about this last week, me and Jimmy went to New York, so I got a lot of good music listening in on the drive there and back. And I listened to this, and I honestly wasn't super impressed with it my first listen. I just thought it was it didn't really show anything new from Lil Uzi, which I kind of wanted. But I've listened to it probably 4 or 5 times since then. And I have to say, like, every time you listen to it, you hear more and more from him. Like I said earlier, maybe not necessarily the lyrical content and value, but just you hear the beats more and you hear just his flows and stuff like that. And it just goes a little bit deeper than his, like, what you see on the surface initially.
Yeah, and I think his voice is, like, so melodic that
Oh, yeah.
it's almost to a point where you don't even, like, even if you don't understand what he's saying, it's like, I don't really even care because the voice just kind of goes with the notes that are in the track.
Yeah,
so.
it's kind of like a Young Thug. Like, that's what made Young Thug appeal to me, like, when he was first breaking into the scene because, yeah, sure, you couldn't understand a lot of what he was saying, but it just sounded good with the beat itself, and it almost added another aspect to the beat itself. So I think that's something that really appeals to music listeners.
Right, and one thing I liked about this tape, like, he had a few songs, like Do What I Want, obviously, is probably the biggest one on there, I would say. He kept that. He makes really catchy hooks. So, I mean, he definitely kept that theme on a couple of these tracks. But then he also had tracks where he just kind of changed up his rhyme scheme. It was interesting to listen to because he's such a melodic guy, as you were saying, that you never know what you're going to get. Like, you could have a very simple beat, but he could bring a whole nother complexity to it just through, like, the melodic variations that he uses.
Yeah, definitely. So, once again, Lil Uzi dropped the Perfect Love tape. That came out about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. You can pretty much find it anywhere. I think it's on SoundCloud. I have it on Apple Music.
It's on Spotify.
Spotify, everything. So go search that right now and give it a listen. And listen to it more than once because, like I said, the first listen may not do it justice right away, but the more you listen to it, the more it'll grow on you. And the more I think, ultimately, it's a really good mixtape. Now, one more project I wanted to talk about before we moved on is a new project from Sremmurd called Sremm Life 2. This just released, I believe, later last week, and it's the follow-up to their first album, Sremm Life, just one, I guess you could say. Now, I don't know, I've kind of made it clear that Sremmurd isn't my favorite duo, I guess you could say, but, I mean, I wanted to go into this with an open mind, so before I share kind of my opinions, I guess, Phil, I know you like him a little more than I do, so what was your thoughts on this?
Take it away.
I really like this duo, Sremmurd, but no, I mean, starting off, he has some pretty interesting features on here. He's got Kodak Black, Gucci Mane, Juicy J, and Little John. We haven't heard Little John.
Little John, of course. He makes
pretty much a staple.
Yeah, but no, I think my favorite song on the album is the song featuring Kodak Black called Real Chill.
Okay.
And it's actually I don't want to say it's like a chiller song, but it goes hard, but at the same time it's a very smooth.
I mean, it's called
it's real
Real
chill.
Chill.
Right, but it's like real
Right.
smooth and melodic, and I really enjoyed that song. And obviously, the two singles, Look Alive and By Chance, are really good songs too. You guys probably heard them on the radio as
Yeah.
well. And Set the Roof, that one's pretty good, featuring Little John. It's just you haven't heard Little John in a while, and you got him on a...
Yeah, he's been on some... I mean, he was on a couple things a few years ago, but that was more of a pop song.
Right,
so, I mean,
right. And
Yeah,
you
he
got him
hasn't
on
done
a...
anything really recently.
Right, and you put him on a track with these two, and it's actually pretty good. And then, obviously, I liked the last song of the album, which was Do Yoga. It's actually a very interesting song, so I definitely go look at that.
Oh, that's on the... Okay, I have the deluxe version, so I have actually 3 extra songs.
Oh, is that what you got?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was going to say, there's also
Well-
one more feature from Bobo Sway that I've heard that name a lot in interviews with them. So he has 3 more songs called Over Here, featuring Bobo Sway, another song called Swaying, and then the last one is Just Like Us. But yeah, I wasn't sure what songs were on the normal version, so...
Yeah, usually Deluxe just
so-
has one extra, but this one
Yeah,
apparently
so
has
Do Yogas was the last song in the normal version. I am actually looking at the
3
deluxe
extra
right
on the
now.
Deluxe. That's crazy.
So, yeah, but if you guys are a fan of Sremmurd, definitely listen to this, because it's their it's their sophomore album.
Yeah, I
I believe
believe
so,
so.
Sophomore album from Sremm Life, and it's pretty good. I think they do a pretty good follow up. And sorry, Jim, before you go on, They keep their same flow and everything, and I know Sway Lee was talking about making his own solo tape, and I don't know if he's gonna break off or not, but it was actually pretty cool to hear about that, obviously, and at the same time they keep their same flow and they still sound the same even though these two are getting older.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Ray Sremmurd. With that in mind, I went in with an open mind. When I first started listening to this whole project, I mean, it reminded me definitely of Ray Sremmurd. You know, you got the more turn-up type beats. They definitely have a lot of energy. There's no doubt about that. I'll just say like a few of my favorites, I guess, where I liked all the features. So Real Chill, I agree with you, Phil. Kodak is one of my favorite up-and-comers. Black Beatles featuring Gucci. Even the Lil Jon, that had production by the Set the Roof, had production by DJ Mustard. And that, I think, was my favorite song overall just because of the catchy hook. It was sort of a West Coast-styled beat. And, I mean, I didn't really get why that was placed in the project because it seemed kind of off from the rest of the production, but I did like it a lot. That was probably my favorite song in general. And then, like I said, overall, I'm not a huge fan of Ray Sremmurd, but mostly because of the repetitive production and hooks. It seemed like it just kind of got old after a while, but that's not to say they don't have the energy to make it last, and, you know, I'm sure they put on a hell of a show. So.
Yeah, I know, like, in recent news, I believe Ebro, like, accused them of not writing their own lyrics and stuff like that. So I saw an interview that they had on The Breakfast Club or Hot 97 or whatever it is, and they said, like, clearly we write our own lyrics, stuff like that, which personally I really don't think is a stretch, because considering a lot of their lyrics aren't, like, insanely intense or, I guess, like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, it does. I don't think it takes a genius to write these types of lyrics.
Shot the top off the Porsche. That's a headless horse.
That's not a bad one, though.
I mean, that's a decent
That's probably
line.
one of their better lyrics.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, something like that. I just don't think it is really that hard to write a lot of the lines that they have. And personally, as I was listening to this, like I said, I went into this with an open mind because I really did, like, I do like the duo. I have heard songs from them that I really like. Nightcrawler off of Rodeo, Travis Scott's album, featured Sway Lee and Chief Keef. That might have been my favorite song off of there, and I loved Sway Lee's part in there. Like I said, I've heard songs by them that I really like. It's just when I turn this on, I think I listened to probably the first 3 or 4 songs, and I thought I downloaded the first Srem Life. It just sounded like the same thing. And so I went back and looked, and I realized it was the second one. It just sounded like something I've already heard before. So with that being said, I think like it didn't really show too much progression in their way. And I guess they were making a follow-up tape to the first one, so they didn't really want to make it change too much. But I think, like Jimmy said, Set the Roof was probably my favorite song just because it was completely turn up. Lil Jon obviously goes crazy on all the songs he's on. But I do think that pretty much all the songs with features were kind of my favorites. The features kind of stole the show, I feel like. Gucci Mane obviously steals the show with him.
The Gucci Mane feature, I don't know if it was Sway Lee or Slim Jimmy, but they actually had a Gucci Mane flow in the beginning of the song, which that was one of my favorite
That was
verses
cool. That was really nice.
So I did like that.
Yeah, once again, the Kodak Black song, Real Chill, is awesome. That's a great song with Kodak. I'm not a huge Juicy J fan, but I mean that song wasn't too bad. I did like Juicy J's line. Some of his lines, he had some, I don't know, kind of really funny lines that I like. So I enjoyed that. And I had seen in their interview on Hot 97 that Bobo Sway, he's coming up in their group with them, and so like he's somebody to look out for. I think he's gonna be on tour with them. And so I was curious to see what he would sound like, and I really liked his voice. It sounded really cool. He could rap really well. His flow was impeccable pretty much, and so I really enjoyed Bobo Sway.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of wrap up a few thoughts I had was the song Do Yoga. Initially, I really liked the intro riffs. It sort of sounded like something I never really heard before, and then when the bass line came in, it was super dope. But after about, it's a 4-minute song, so after about 2 minutes of listening, I was kind of like, I wish they maybe would have had some sort of bridge or something to break it up a little bit.
I was actually thinking the exact
same thing. Which they didn't, but, I mean, Overall, like I said, I'm not a huge Ray Sremmurd fan, but I mean they always have great turn up value. So if you're looking to turn on something and just to get lit to, I mean you can't really go wrong.
Exactly.
So.
It's not necessarily my first choice, but if you are a fan of Ray Sremmurd, this is something you're going to definitely like because it sounds like Ray Sremmurd. It's nothing really new from them that could be experimental. But yeah, I mean, if you like Ray Sremmurd, you're going to love this album, and so definitely you're going to want to give that a listen. Sremm Life 2, it's out now. I'd go for the deluxe version because that has a song. Yeah, that is a song Over Here featuring Bobo Sway. Like I said, he's a guy that is he sounded really good on that song, so I want to hear more from him. And so yeah, definitely go listen. Sremm Life 2 now. Like I said, I have it on Apple Music. I believe it's on Spotify.
It's on Spotify.
I'm sure it's pretty much on any major platform.
They have both on Spotify too, by the way. They have the deluxe and the regular.
Okay, yeah. So go check that out now. Ray Sremmurd, Sremm Life 2. Go download it and take a listen and let us know what you guys think.
All right, guys. So to wrap up the show, we're gonna do something a little bit different today. I got some questions for you guys about Chicago culture here, and since you guys are definitely more into like the fashion and the food and the obviously we're on the music.
The food, is that a fat joke?
No, it was not.
Can't see us.
No, it was not. I'm just gonna ask you guys some questions, and give you guys opinion, obviously. So, all right. First question I have for you guys, it's gonna be a music question. All right. So when you think of Chicago music, what do you guys think of?
I know for me, I definitely tend to think of the more influences that go into it. So, like, you have the neo-soul influence that Mick Jenkins brings. You have, like, the house and dance-type music that Chance brings. And there's just, like, you have the drill scene that's happening. And there's just, like, the total Chicago music scene cannot be described in one genre. And I feel like that's important to know is that there's a lot of different influences from the past.
Yeah. Me personally, I think more so of specific artists and stuff like that. I have a little list here, so I'll just go through them. Chance, obviously, he pretty much has been trending in Chicago since acid rap, since people have heard his name, and I don't think that's going to change in the near future whatsoever. If anything, he'll get even bigger of a buzz. No Name, she clearly just released Telephone, so currently she's pretty much at the top of her game right now, and she's going to continue to grow.
By the way.
Yeah, great project. Go listen to that. I also have Warhol. He pretty much I just heard of him since earlier this year, a couple months ago, and ever since I've seen him live twice. He's been out to LA a few times, performs out there, and he's traveling around getting his name out there. He's a Red Bull Sound Select artist. So he's somebody that definitely comes to mind. Then there's also Superboy. I've seen him perform once. He goes nuts, and just he's got a crazy sound to him that, like, he sings a little bit, he raps, and he's I don't know, he has a slower kind of sound, but it really is something different that you haven't heard before, and it's just something that you could hear in Chicago.
One more thing that I want to say when I think of music in the city is that there are so many new artists that are underground that you've just never heard of before, and it sucks because they don't get the recognition they deserve, and I hope they do, but it's just that, there's so much good music being put out in the city of all different styles that you just got to keep your ear on SoundCloud open, and you should look on the main page of SoundCloud and you'll find something new. So Chicago is one of the best music cities in my opinion.
And just one more name that comes to mind when I think of Chicago music is somebody you may or may not have heard of, but he's definitely coming up and you're going to want to keep him on your radar. Big Body Fiji.
Big Body.
I've known about him for a while, and he goes nuts. He sounds different in every song. You almost don't recognize him on every song. And he just goes nuts over any
Very
beat.
dynamic.
Yeah, over any beat. It could be the hardest drill beat of them all, or it could be a soft, like, melody-driven beat. And Superboy has co-signed him multiple times on Twitter. He always reposts his stuff on SoundCloud. And
yeah, we'll talk about him on the show, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
we'll definitely talk about him in the future. We'll have, like, an artist spotlight on him. But he's somebody you really want to look out for. He's one of my favorites. Even though he's technically not even from Chicago, he's from the suburbs. So, but he definitely embodies everything that has to do with Chicago.
He
and he's
embodies it.
Yeah, big body embodied. Yeah, you definitely want to keep him on your radar.
Yeah, and I guess for me, it would just kind of be like the meaning and the effort that all these artists put into their tracks. A lot of the songs that we hear from, Chance and No Name, and Superboy, Big Body, like they put their life stories into these tracks, and they really kind of go off of that that soulful vibe with the lyrics that they write in their songs.
And they all sound pretty much completely different. Like I think Chance and No Name are the most comparable on my list of people I think of like right now in this current moment, but they all sound completely different. I've never heard of anybody that sounds remotely close to Superboy, Big Body, or Warhol. They all sound on a completely different level, and I would almost not even consider it hip-hop. It's like a genre on its own that, like I said, it's undiscovered so far, and I mean, if they're making their way into the music scene through their own type of music, like, that's more power to you, because that's not easy to do.
All right, guys, next question here. A little bit of a fashion question, all right. So here, so when you guys are walking around Chicago or, the suburbs or, anywhere in the Chicagoland area, what is the most popular thing you see people wearing? And I know Jordan's is going to be one of them, and I want to know which Jordan you guys think's the hottest right now.
Well, honestly, I think that... So I just want to start off. I think a lot of people are wearing the city brands, like a lot of the local stores, like Juggernaut. You got Leaders, Fat Tiger Workshop. I don't know if I'm missing any, Danny. If I am, let me know.
I know that there's like RSVP
Oh,
Gallery.
right, yeah.
That's
more of a high end.
Yeah, that's a little bit higher end, but you see people wearing that. But yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. All these Chicago brands are... they're really embodying Chicago.
Very homegrown brands.
Yeah, I believe it's Juggernaut has, like, it says Chicago everywhere or something like that. On like some T-shirts, like they have Chicago everything. They have a special design T-shirt where there's a White Sox T-shirt with the Juggernaut logo on it, and also a Cubs T-shirt with the Juggernaut logo on it. So they love the city. The city loves them.
Yeah, they're right downtown.
I mean, fashion and music goes hand in hand. So, I would have to say, like...
Is that this store by Al's Beef?
No, that's called Mint. No,
that's Mint. Which they're also another store that's maybe not necessarily buzzing as much, but they're a store that's on the come up that you're going to want to take a look at. So,
Sorry.
And when it comes to the hottest, I guess shoes in general and Jordans, I don't know. I mean, black cement 3s are always a staple. I've got a pair of those. Those are shoes that look nice, brand new or beat to shit. Like, those are awesome shoes. So those are maybe like ones, like red ones or something. Those are kind of the staples of.
In terms of footwear, I mean, obviously Jordans are super popular still. But the thing about like fashion in the city is, like, you'll walk around and like you'll see people wearing the most random brands and stuff you've never even heard of, and it's like, they just make it what's trending, and it's sort of cool because, obviously you'll see people wearing the newest released Jordans and Yeezys, which are dope by every means, but it's like, then you'll also see somebody wearing like a pair of like Stan Smith by Pharrell, some random colorway, and it's just like they make it look super dope.
Thank you. I'm wearing my Stan Smiths right now. So
okay, well, I'm not talking about you, but
okay. And one more streetwear, I guess, website I want to touch on. One of my friends actually opened it up earlier this year. It's called Ground Control. Shout out Cam. They have some really dope stuff. I believe they only had a T-shirt and a sweatshirt on their website, which I believe is closed right now while they wait to unveil their next line of things. But they had some super dope stuff, and I know
that hoodie.
Yeah, I don't know what's coming out next, but I know it's going to be even better than before. So be on the lookout for that. The website is groundcontrol.com, but it's shortened, so it's grndcntrl.com. Like I said, they're somebody you want to have on your radar because he knows what he's doing. He has the connections, and he's going to make it big. So be on the lookout for that.
I would say another thing that's huge in fashion is obviously the dad hats. Me and Danny are wearing them right now. And then also like just like gear, like in merch from just random artists. Like right now, for instance, I'm wearing a Tokyo Wave Theory shirt with a reflective like Wave Theory cover. And I mean like I know Roy French has a really dope shirt.
Roy French has an awesome...
It reminds me of like a 90s throwback shirt.
It's like a throwback rock shirt.
I know Lil Yachty just dropped new merch. I mean, there's
Travis Scott has some insane
obviously
merch.
Chance, he coined
Chances,
merch.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, just like that type of stuff from artists I feel is even cooler because a lot of times it feels very vintage, and you definitely see a lot of people
and
wearing
even
stuff like that.
Name brand stuff like Polo,
Right.
Tommy Hilfiger, like Margiela, stuff like that. Like those stuff, like that stuff's a little more expensive, but I mean that's stuff that people always talk about in hip hop, rap,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Whether it's the shoes, the actual clothing, hats,
You
anything.
gotta hustle to get it.
Like yeah, I
Expensive
mean
stuff, yeah.
that's if you can afford to get that, you're kind of making it somewhere. So Balenciaga
Hello?
Crocs coming soon. But yeah, so definitely the fashion goes hand in hand, like I said, with the music culture, and that's something that, I mean, if you're not into it now, you've definitely heard stuff about it in songs, and if you're looking to get into it, just, I guess, follow a bunch of blogs and stuff like that talk about that stuff, because it is really interesting, and it's cool that when you finally do get that fashion, you hear these lines in songs that you probably wouldn't get until you've actually gotten into the fashion scene. So that's something that I really love, and that's something that everybody else should get into.
All right, guys. Last quick question, just to wrap it up, real quick. So make it brief. All right. Favorite Chicago cuisine?
I don't know, like in the city or just in the area.
It could be wherever.
I mean, I would have to say deep dish pizza just because that embodies
about
to say the
embodies Chicago.
Yeah, I'd have to say probably the same. There's
From where though? Do you have a favorite?
my favorite's Lou Malnati's, hands down. I love
Yeah.
Giordano's.
Yeah, I
I love
second
Gino's.
that.
Butter crust,
but,
man.
I mean,
I might have to go Giordano's. Although
Giordano's
I've
is
heard
really
Pequod's is dope. I've never been there, but I've heard that's one of the best.
yeah, I
in the
mean,
city.
Lou Malnati's, I can't go wrong
Pizzeria
with.
Uno.
There's also obviously the great chicken places around here. We have Uncle
Uncle
Remus
Remus.
right by us, JJ's Fish and Chicken.
Sure.
Harold's obviously is a Chicago staple.
Right.
So you can never go wrong with that stuff. You got to get I usually get like 8-piece wings with the mild sauce. You got to do that. I'm a big body, so I'll finish it all. But yeah, definitely. I think that either one of those, if you're not from Chicago, but you're here, you can never go wrong with one
Good
of
stuff.
those.
Sambo, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the deep dish pizza, or the chicken staples, all over the place. Definitely second that, what you guys said.
See, I'm surprised I haven't heard Italian beef because
I thought you were gonna bring it up.
that's
I was
mine right
about
there,
to-
man. A good Italian beef with some hot
Or you got-
giardiniera on there.
Dude, or you got the hot dogs with Gene and Jude's.
Ooh, I forgot
Don't
about
ask
the
for ketchup
dogs.
though.
No, don't get ketchup on your dogs.
Never.
Get the Chicago style.
They'll
Eat,
kill you.
eat it with everything.
Go.
This is
Eat it with
quickly turned
everything.
into a food food
Ah,
podcast.
we could talk for
but
hours
no
about
problem.
it.
No,
we could talk
doesn't
for
matter,
hours
man.
about it.
Where are we going to eat after this, by the way?
Ah, dude, I don't know.
Just kidding.
Some
All right.
Q. So obviously, if you guys are from Chicago or the Chicagoland area, you've definitely probably eaten all the food we've talked about, seen all the fashion, probably are up to date with all the music. But if for those of you who are out-of-staters, out-of-towners, who aren't from Chicago and are coming to visit Chicago, definitely keep an eye out for some of those places and stuff, because you're tasting a little bit of history. Not only what's trending now, but you're also, like, as far as some of the food restaurants and stuff goes, and just the culture and the architecture
Chicago what
downtown.
it is.
Yeah, it's it just embodies the whole Chicago spirit. I
Yeah,
guess
it's
you can
definitely
say. So
definitely buzzing in this.
so yeah, but thanks guys for answering those questions.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's our drill tape of the week, brought
Bring
to
'em
you
up,
by
bring 'em up.
Drill Martyn, a.k.a. Drill Time Phil. What do you
Here we
got
go.
for us, Phil?
Here we go. Trappin' Ain't Dead by Fredo Santana.
Ooh,
Now,
all right,
Phil.
I feel you.
Now, Phil, why do you think people should listen to this?
Well, let me start off by saying it's a little bit of an older mixtape. Came out back in 2013.
Okay.
So it's a little bit. It's a little bit
A little
older,
dated,
but
I'm
it's
sure
but it's still very relevant.
Still relevant.
So he's got some. I'm just gonna name the bigger name features on this mixtape. He's got a song called "Jealous" featuring Kendrick Lamar.
Oh yeah, great song.
He's got a song called "Clockwork" featuring Lil Herb or
Good
G
feature.
Herbo. And he's got another song called "I Don't Know About You," featuring Capo, R.I.P. Capo.
Yeah.
But that song was really hot in Chicago at one point too. It still is at some point.
Right.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, yeah, guys, definitely go check that out and be on the lookout for next week's Drill Tape of the Week. Well, that's our show, everyone. Thanks for listening, and please show us support and let us know how we can get better. Once again, guys, feel free to share topics, songs, artists, and ideas for us to talk about in the future. You can do that by following us on Twitter at Scruff_Squad. And please like our Facebook page called Scruff Squad Presents, the broadcast from the Burbs.
Yep. And while you guys are tweeting and Facebooking, if you guys think of any suggestions or any ideas for us to topics for us to talk about, email us at scruffsquad60154@gmail.com. And definitely keep on the lookout for our website. It's coming very soon. And please subscribe to our YouTube page.
Yes, guys, please subscribe. That shows us that you guys like what we're putting out. As Phil said before, and like I said earlier in the episode, on the website we will be starting a blog. So we are taking music submissions immediately. So if you are trying to get your name out there, definitely send us your music, whether it's just a song, a project, anything, and we'll get you guys on the blog and we'll talk about you, I'm sure. So send us your music, like I said, to Twitter at @scruff_squad. You can DM us or tweet at us, or send us an email at scruffsquad60154@gmail.com. Really looking forward to that, and I mean, the more submissions we get, the better the blog will be. So definitely send us your music, guys. And thank you for tuning in this week, and stay tuned for our next episode.
Thanks, guys. Be on the lookout for Scruff Squad.